Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. So, what I want to do today is that I want to go a little bit deeper into understanding the resisting forces that all, or the test, the major test, a threshold that we have to pass in order for us to ascend. We had spoken about three collectives of resisting forces. The first being Hasatan, had been a force that's created as the main resistant force that will allow us to remove our bread of shame, so that we can learn how to balance our desire to receive and desire to give in a proper way. In the Bible, the perfect example of this is the book of Job, where in the first chapter, it described that there was a meeting in the heavens. I'm paraphrasing. There was a meeting in the heavens, and God, all these angels were sitting around, and Satan showed up, was at the meeting. And God asked him, what have you been doing? As if they were friends and they knew each other for a long time. And he said, I've been going on earth to and fro. And God said to him, have you seen my servant Job? He's the most righteous of all. And Hasatan said, well, he has not been tested. So God said, okay, you can test him. Don't take his life, but you can test him. And Job, as the chapter progressed, began to lose everything. He lost his wife, he lost his kid, he lost his house. He had thousands of animals, and whatever he had, he lost everything. He was destitute. But the test for him was the fact that he, throughout all of this, he never forsake God. He never said, God, why are you punishing me? He kept saying, there is a higher reason why this is happening to me. I don't understand it, God, but in you I trust. And his faith got tested over and over again, and he never cast out God or forsaken God throughout the whole thing. And at the end of the chapter, because of his faith, he got given everything back and more. So the first test on the path of ascension, once you decide that you're really doing this and you start to dedicate your life and your spiritual practice and everything in your life toward the elevation to become a part of the ascended community, you're going to face the dweller on the threshold, which is a version of Hasatan, and that and often referred to as the accuser. The way it works is that as you're trying to elevate, that energy system, that resisting force is going to scan you and figure out what are the parts of you that are lacking, that are flawed, that are imperfect. And it's going to project this imperfection back to you to tell you that you're undeserving and you're an imposter. And it's the test referred to in the common lexicon as the imposter syndrome, whereas in the mystery school, it is called the dweller on the threshold or the accuser. And the dweller, really, that test comes and sound initially when these accusation and that voice comes in like a final judgment, like you are so broken and you're unredeemable and you're unrepairable, and there is something in your psyche that's so fractured that nothing can fix. And this is the way that voice initially comes. But the way to overcome this is to realize, wait a minute. Although you're pointing out to mistakes that are true, I may be flawed in this way or that way, and I have this other problem, I have that other problem, but it is not the totality of my psyche. There are other aspects of me. I am kind, I am loyal, I am charitable. There are other parts of me that also exist that in your accusation were not inserted or included to give me a complete picture. Therefore, and therefore, I have to understand that the accusation is just skewed perception trying to diminish me and have me cower into a corner. And as such, I am preemptively asking God for forgiveness for not being perfect. I am human. Although I desire to become ascended, I am not ascended yet. I am therefore acknowledging that I'm flawed, that I feel like an imposter, that I feel incomplete, that I feel vulnerable. I'm acknowledging all of these things, and I'm asking God for forgiveness for being incomplete. Moreover, I am now going to forgive myself for also being incomplete. I'm going to forgive myself for being human, for being imperfect, and for not being. You see, in the light community, this is a real problem because we desire to be so angelic and so godlike that we often deny our humanity. We reject it, we deny our flaws, and so that we can connect to what we think is an ascended way of being. When in fact it's the reverse that should happen for real ascension to occur. You have to go into the brokenness and the vulnerability that are in your core, and you have to sit with them. And the more you sit with them, the deeper you go in and the deeper you pray and you align yourself with that vulnerability, the more you will allow yourself to eventually that forgiveness and that acceptance to come as the forgiving yourself. And when the acceptance comes in, soon after that, it will evolve into self-love and self-acceptance, even though you're incomplete. Yeah, I'm broken, but I'm going to love myself nonetheless. I'm not going to punish myself for being incomplete. I'm going to accept all the parts of me, the totality, the whole thing, the ones that are already on their way, although not perfect, not my charitable part, my loyal part, my kind part, including my flaws, including my brokenness, including my traumas and my vulnerability. And when you can accept all of this and love all of this, then real light will begin to shine in the places that were the darkest. Light will begin to shine, and your ascension is now on solid foundation. Instead of it being on denial, it will be now placed. The foundation will be on solid ground, on truth, based on truth. Now, because of this, then the edifice that you're building will begin to have to be firm and steady. The other collective that we need to be concerned about are the archons. In the Gnostic teachings, and the Gnostic teaching came, they were forgotten, lost, buried many, many eons ago because the church fathers at 325 AD decided all these teachings, and including also there were about 50 different gospel. Some of them are lost, by the way. We don't have copies of them left because the church was very effective at destroying all of these things. The church decided only 4 gospel were acceptable to the way they saw the church going. They removed all these other books, including the teaching of the Gnostics, because it turns out that the sect that Jesus, Mary, and Joseph belonged to was the Essenes, and the Essenes were actually also Gnostic. So, but how it survived is that the Essene the Gnostic had the ability to foresee the future. So they must have foreseen it because the loss, because they buried in clay jar, written in papyrus, many of their books. And they buried it into a cave. That's the Dead Sea Scroll that were discovered by a shepherd who had a goat that was lost, that went inside a cave. And when he found the goat had broken one of the jars, was chewing on one of the papyrus. And this is the way the whole Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. And so into these teachings, there are two things that are very prevalent. It was the conversation about the archon, who they are, what they are, and what they are doing, and their role and their purpose as fallen angels, not the Luciferian fall. And then there was also the demiurge, which is Lucifer itself and the role that Lucifer is playing. So there were two separate things. The archon, let's focus on the first one, the archons. The archons are a group of 200 angels, chief angels, with their choir. So it's like 200 chief with a whole series of people underneath them. So it was more than 200, but it's 200 chief angels. And it was in the book of Enoch. Of course, the book of Enoch was in the original Bible we had prior to 325. They were removed, but there were many gospels because the Ethiopian version of the church which was not under the control of the Roman church. The book of Enoch remained, and many things, many other gospels, like the gospel of Peter. There are other gospels that were also maintained in that old Bible. So in the book of Enoch, they talked about these angels being guardian angels. The term that was used in the book specifically, they were watchers. They were supposed to watch over humanity. And at some point in their role, playing their role as watchers, they emancipated away from the purpose they were created for. The angelic race, and this is true of archangel and angels, they are created and they emanate for a very specific purpose. For example, Archangel Raphael is the angel of healing, but he heals only battle wounds. Archangel Michael is like God, but he's also a healer. He heals everything. Archangel Gabriel is the strength of God, and he is actually not only the strength, but in a lot of writing or church writing, they make Archangel Gabriel sound like he has a trumpet, and he's the the announcer of God. When Archangel Gabriel came to Sarah and said to Sarah, "You're about to have a child," when Sarah was 90 years old and Abraham was 100, he didn't come with a trumpet. Gabriel is actually the strength of the virility of God. It's the seed, the seminal seed of God. When Mary got the announcement by saying that you will have the Son of God when she was still a virgin, it was that angel came in, that archangel came in to actually impregnate these beings by putting the seed of God into them, the prana seed of God. So each angel have their very specific role that they're playing, and you cannot interchange them. For example, if you want to heal somebody from battle wound, you cannot call Archangel Gabriel to do it. It will not happen, right? So the roles are specific, and all these angels do is that they fulfill their purpose and they obey. And for that, they have immortal life. They have all these gifts and etc. And they are perpetually there, etc. What happened with why I'm saying this is because the Watchers did something unexpected. They emancipated out of their purpose, and they made a pact amongst the 200 of them, led by Shenzaza, which was their chief, and they decided that they were gonna, because they saw that human female were getting prettier and prettier, that they were gonna take human shape, human appearance, human visages, and they were gonna copulate with them, which they did. By doing so, mixing angelic DNA with human DNA, they veered the genetic purpose that God had created humanity. Because prior to that, human being existed for a very long time, 800 to 1,000 years. As mentioned, Abraham became the father of Isaac when he was 100 years old. Moses lived to be 340, which was almost 2,000 years old, 340 something years old. Right now, the life expectancy is very low, much lower than this. And it's because of this intermarriage, where angelic blood mixed with human blood. Now, the sin of the Archon was not just that they intermarried, but they brought at the time what was called forbidden knowledge. Now, today we don't consider these things forbidden because we have grown quite a bit emotionally. It's information and knowledge about science and spirituality and understanding that a young, fresh out of the Garden of Eden race that is just trying to navigate the 3D system, it's things that if the information comes too fast and too quickly, they don't have the morality and the ethics to actually deal with it. I would argue right now that at this very moment, the artificial intelligence and a lot of stuff that we are dealing with, we don't have the morality or the ethics also to deal with it. I actually suspect that a lot of that information or technology that's being developed or being pushed and created by archons, because they're still influencing the planet to date. So, so the archons it's a two-pronged thing. They mix their blood with human blood. The second thing that they did is that they brought forbidden knowledge. Things that were so advanced that we don't have the morality and the ethics, so the ego projects into it, and it corrupts us completely, and genetically we're not capable of handling it, and we veer off along all of these side paths and different timeline and do all kinds of things that were not the path that genetically God had us on. And we're going to have to figure out a way to veer back into that original path, which is what Ascension is about, is to figure out a way to veer back into it. Okay, so having said this, what I can say to you as well is that the other issue with the Archon is as follows. Archons cannot create anything. They don't have the creative capability. It's only human being that can become co-creator and have original insight and thought and come up with something that didn't exist before and try to manifest it. Archon don't have that ability. And for that matter, all angelic forms do not have that ability. That co-creative ability exists only in human beings, created in the image of God, as co-creators. So the Archon, when they manifest or create, even when they took human form and human visages, they are called in the Book of Enoch, in the shamanistic culture, in many, many other places, other cultures, they are called inorganic being or an incomplete creation. And the term that is used often to describe them is simulacrum in the Gnostic teaching, which is it's similar to, but something is missing. Because if you sit energetically with that stuff, that simulacrum, you will sense it. I've had that experience personally, and I can share with you one example of this, is that I would be in a dream sensing that somebody is pursuing me and I have to run away from them. That energy is bad and evil or malevolent toward me, and I'm running and I find the safety of my home. I lock myself in my apartment, I lock everything down, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting down, I'm like, okay, I'm protected, I'm home. All of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not home. This is not, something is wrong. It looks like my home, it feels like my apartment, but I'm not at home. I'm still I'm being held captive into something. That's simulacrum. And those kind of dreams are terrifying, because you realize that you're still dreaming and you have to figure out a way to get out from where you are because you're still in danger. When I was a kid, I remember having these dreams where the sequence before I finally wake up would be 4, 5, or 6 times in a row before I finally would. I haven't had those dreams in years, but it would be 4, 5, 6 times in a row before I finally would snap out and awake and find myself in my own room and feel that I'm safe now. That whole process is Archon created, where they work a lot in dreams, trying to trap dreamers into their world. And the more feel, and the other way they influence us as well is that they inflate our feelings and emotion. They make your feelings and emotion, particularly fear, feel like it is genuinely the way you feel. What do we do? A simple example. When emotion comes in, all of a sudden you have a panic thought, or a thought flies in, and you have a sense of like a weird kind of panic thought. And what do we say to ourselves? I feel like. The moment you say I, you claim it. Instead of saying, for example, I sense fear coming in my aura or in my field. Instead of saying, I sense fear. I am in fear. The moment you say I am in fear, you identify it and it becomes yours. And therefore the Archon force locks inside of you. And then now it's going to wrestle with your psyche for several days before you finally come down. And when you come down, you're going to wonder to yourself, I don't know what came into me. I'll tell you what came into you. You got influence. You are being agitated by an external influence. Now, given what's going on with the planet right now, with all of the major changes and the catastrophic things that are happening everywhere, that the Archons are having a field day. Second collective, right? Let's talk for a moment about the third. And the first collective, Saturn, becomes the dweller, and that's the first test where you're being accused. The Archon will continue in between. They will constantly try to inflate you to cause you to derail, to cause you to be agitated. They create chaos. They make you act out of a character for who you are and your true nature. You become somebody else. You start screaming and you start basically performing in a way that's unbecoming of the light being that you're trying to be, or even that's unlike you as a human being. The third collective is the demiurge. And that's the last test before ascension happens. If you're facing the demiurge test, it's because your ascension is almost achieved. Because the moment you pass that test, none of these forces can influence you anymore. You are now in a different class. They cannot touch you anymore. The demiurge really is Lucifer. Lucifer's name translates as the light bearer. It was one of the most beautiful and powerful archangel that ever existed. And his sin is not really the fact that he refused to bow down when humanity was created and say that human being, the way God was asking all the angelic hosts to bow down in front of men. That's not the sin. The sin is pride. He created a world of mirrors to reflect the original light of the uncreated God in such a way that he would trap your ego into thinking that the reflected or inverted light, because whatever is reflected in the mirror, left become right, right become left, so it's inverted. And I want to be very clear when I say inverted light. I don't want you to think of it as being darkness, because the demiurge does not create darkness. The demiurge only creates inverted light. There's a big difference. The way to explain this and to try to put it into terms that is acceptable to our consciousness, because we live in such a bipolar reality that if it's not light, it's darkness. We tend to be very one or the other kind of thing. The way to describe it is that if you look at in any major city where there are glass wall skyscrapers that have glass wall, okay, and those glass walls sometimes are mirrored, and when the light shine on them, the sunlight shine on them, they reflect light. Now, if you're sitting opposite to them, if you happen to be building across from them, and the light is shining into them, and you're on the opposite side, wherever you are, if you're not careful, you're going to get a sunburn from the reflected light. So the quality of the original light will be reflected back to you. Although it is inverted, but the qualities are still luminous. So the experiences that you're going to end up having when you approach ascension is still going to be shimmering and luminous, even though they're coming from the demiurge originally. Which means that the experience could be ecstatic joy or feeling a sense that you're connected to God and you're illuminated, you have the angels and the archangel next to you. You feel completely enveloped by the love of God. You feel surrendered, and all of this being, it's not that they are not true, they are not complete. There is a difference, meaning that whatever that experience is, and the way the demiurge works is that by shining bright things all around you and creating a very specific narrative about where the provenance of the light is. It's coming directly from God. It's coming from Jesus. It's coming from Mother Mary. It's coming, the angels are with me, and you can see it illuminated with it, and you get so in awe, and what happened next? Your ego gets inflated. You think that you're so special because you are illumined and you're so close to illumination. You're so close to achieving everything. You're so close to the goal that you're seeking. And you become what? Attached to the fact that you're so close. And that attachment, it's what the demiurge wants. What the demiurge wants is your attention and your focus to capture your ego from actually going into the true light that's beyond that. It is a very subtle shift, but it is necessary, because in Tibetan Buddhism, they talk about the fact that non-attachment to everything and anything is the key to true enlightenment, to become a Buddha or to become ascended. And you have to become non-attached even to the process of enlightenment itself, which means that when, for example, I have an experience where I sense the light of God and I'm connected. There are days where I wake up, the light of God is with me automatically. I just wake up and it's there. I can feel this illumination. I can feel this great ease, this sense of surrender. I am so unburdened. And I say, thank you for the blessings. I accept the gift and I receive with gratitude. But I want to be very clear. I say the same thing, even on the day that it's difficult. When I feel so cut off from God and so cut off from everything else, I still go in prayer and say, thank you for the blessing. I accept the gift and I receive with gratitude. Because during the days of difficulty, if I acknowledge the fact that the difficulty is part of the process of me learning how to find the bridge between the inverted light and the true light, then I will achieve something incredible. So I'm not being grateful only in the days where when I feel the liberation. I'm being grateful all the time, even when I'm the challenge. And this is key for you to not put the days of feeling liberated on some sort of higher pedestal and feeling that you're better than everybody else, not consciously, not maliciously, but subconsciously, that you're better than anybody else because you're so close to being ascended and you feel so connected to God. The other way to explain this is to say to you, the light of the demiurge and the world, and the demiurge is called also the king of the world. He gives everything of the world. The way the work of the demiurge work is that when the light of the demiurge is all around you and it's created and it's giving you all of the stuff, you need to if you remember years ago when we were doing the work for the Archon, I had a thing that I used to ask you all the time to do when we're dealing with Archon forces. When you feel that it's Archon forces that are influencing you and agitating your emotion, you scan where it's coming from, and wherever you sense the Archon, you say to the Archon, I see you, and I have my eyes fixed on you. The light that the demiurge is creating is also simulacrum. It's kind of like the real light, but it's not the real light. The archons create shadows because they try to be invisible. They try to remain, and they make you believe that you are, the feelings and the emotions you're feeling is yours, and therefore they hide behind it. The demiurge does not hide. The demiurge shine inverted light. I hope you see the difference between the two, although the demiurge as well is still manifesting not the true light, but an inverted version. But that inverted version is the key to finding the true light. And the way you do it is that you face it too. You don't deny it. You say, yes, I'm feeling surrendered with God. I feel all these great things. I feel blessings and all of that. And then you sit with it and you stare at it and you remain silent in the understanding of the light and the understanding of all of these blessings and everything that you're seeing. And you're asking yourself deeper questions. Because if you sit with it without identifying with it that you're better, you've improved, you've achieved a great thing. If you just sit with it without any identification, and you just sit with it to observe it and to witness it, you will begin to realize very quickly and subtly that there is something else beyond that experience that you're not seeing. There is an emerging awareness that you're not picking up. There is an emerging something that just at the tip of your tongue, that's almost there, that you're not witnessing yet. And this is why you don't deny it. You don't try to cast it out, get thee behind me, and to call upon some other being. You will not succeed. Because whatever being you call is going to come to a reflection. So you will be back to square one. So what you do is that you experience the emotions and the feeling completely. I'm feeling liberated. I feel free. I feel connected to God. And then you sit with it and you keep observing it silently, observing it. In fact, when I do this, I don't even play music. I just sit with myself in silence. I turn off everything and I sit with myself in silence. And as I'm witnessing it, I begin to sense, wait a minute, there's something I'm not seeing. And those key questions are the way in to get to the true light. There's something I am not perceiving. There's something I'm not hearing. And every time I ask the question, I sit quietly and let the energies around me, surrounding this luminosity that I'm experiencing, this inverted luminosity, to show me what I am not seeing. Because energy doesn't lie. We lie to ourselves all the time. But when you ask and you come in, because you're co-creator with God and you're waiting for that emerging awareness to show up, it will show up. It won't show up all at once in one moment, but if you sit long enough, it will show up. And then this emerging awareness will begin to show up and give you an insight into whatever is in beyond that veil or that experience of luminosity or inverted luminosity. Any questions or any comments?
Yeah, who do you ask, what am I not seeing? Who do you ask that of?
Your higher self, your God self,
Okay. Yeah.
your God self. Is
Hmm.
that when you sit quietly with the whole of this, the blessing. Again, we're doing things that are normal. We all want to feel good. And when you have that experience of light and you feel good, you yield into it. Of course, all of us will do it, including me, who wants to feel burdened all the time, right? And for a while you enjoy it, but if you sit with it long enough, by just observing it, you will begin to realize there is something else behind it that I'm not seeing. There's something else that I'm not perceiving that's trying to connect with me that's not completely connecting. And I have to find the bridge that connects me from that inverted luminosity into that realm.
Got it. Also, in your new book, you refer to, I think this is the same person, resistor. I think you called it the deceiver.
Yes, yes,
So the demiurge, the deceiver, and Lucifer are one.
yes, yes, yes. He is the deceiver because the light he's creating is contrived. And the other way to understand it, the other word that the Gnostic use all the time, is that the luminosity created by the demiurge is directional. In other words, there is a higher and there's a lower. It's directional. It's like looking at the sun in the sky. It comes from the sun and it beams down on you. Whereas when you get into that emerging awareness, you dissolve inside the light and there is no direction to it. The way to describe it is that it's a place where you dissolve into it. And the way you experience that light when you get into it is that once you begin to ask this question and you query it, and then it begins to happen all around you, suddenly you're inside. Okay, it feels like a white, it's not the same whiteness as if the sun was shining on you and blinding you. Because, and again, it's all around you. It's this immense, immense space where there is no direction, no up and down anywhere. It's just whiteness all around you. And then the characteristic of it is that it's complete rest and stillness. No monkey mind. When you walk into it, and I have to tell you, you and I and all of us who are listening are actually going to that space all the time. But when we do it in meditation and we go into it, we fall asleep. We pass out. We go somewhere we don't know. And part of it, it's because your ego that the demiurge is trying to capture, the attention on your focus of that is trying to capture. You have to transcend that idea of you being a singularity of consciousness into becoming, when you enter that realm, a plurality or a collective awareness. And for that to happen, you have to surrender that singularity of consciousness. And it's not an easy thing to do. And the way the Buddhist is non-attachment to anything, people, places, thing, relationship, karma, even enlightenment. The way we're doing it is by doing the torsion field. Every time you do a torsion field, every time you create the torsion field, I'm asking for you to do it 3 times a day, and you're doing it. What happens is that every time a guardian comes in, first guardian comes in to gift you the awareness and the expansion that 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 guardian, let's say the first one comes in 4D and overlight you and shares with you the awareness that it has in 4D on what neutrality in 4D is. By the process of them coming in one by one, second guardian, third guardian, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, all the way back to God, as they're doing this, They're building your, they are actually strengthening your ability instead of becoming unconscious tendencies. When you go into that collective awareness, you go there unconscious, they're building your, giving you enough natural light and strength so that when you go there, you go conscious. That's why I keep insisting for you to do the torsion field 3 times a day, because it will strengthen you. And you're going to one day just slip into it and find yourself into the weirdest place that you have ever experienced. It's a form of awareness that's unlike anything you have ever known. It's the only thing that may be memorable is the fact that it's a sense of being in a huge volume. Because when the first guardian comes in, you're very aware of the core, you're very aware of the filaments and how big it is. And the second one and the third one, by the time all 12 of them are created, you're inside this gigantic volume, which is similar to the space, the white space. So you're strengthening your ability to exist consciously in 4D, 5D, 6D, until 15D in the various realms, while still allowing an expansion of your awareness to exist while you're still conscious in it. And with practice, you will go into it all the way up to the 15th dimension, and before you know it, you're going to go right into the experience of what it is to be in that, become a perfect witness, where everything is just at rest. Now, the experience in itself is disorienting because there is no landmark whatsoever. I think in the movie The Matrix, when Neo first entered the Matrix with Morpheus, they show you that they both enter physically. There was a couch. They both sat. He was sitting in the couch. They come in, and it's all white. Everything is white. The writers of a lot of these movies are channeling. Although it's flat on the screen, when you go into it, you're inside of it. And the volume and the whiteness and the immensity is everywhere, all around you. It's extremely disorienting. And the other thing as well is that a lot of time when I'm in there, I don't have a body. I exist, but I don't have a body. And the quality of that space is that it doesn't have, not only that there's no thoughts initially, there is rest, there is stillness, and there is complete silence. And you don't know, and time and space is warped in there. Sometimes you're in there for 10 minutes, you think you've been there for 2 hours, and sometimes you're there for 3 hours, you think it's just 10 minutes. And you become almost, to people on the outside, catatonic. Because you have no desire to be, when you're that unburdened, you have no desire to join the mundane pursuit of having to do, to fix, to repair, because it's not necessary. When you're in there, all the needs that you have, the feel, that vastness, that light, that true luminosity, it knows them and it takes care of them without you having to ask. Now, this is not to say that you cannot bring a request into it. Over time, once you acclimate and you can go in there more often, you can begin to bring, but it has to be a single thought, something very simple. Help me find safe passage, or, heal XYZ, protect that or the other. And if you come in with the wrong thought initially into that space, when you get into the field will correct you. Will say, this is an improper thought that you're asking. It will tell you to switch it. And over, maybe not in that one session, but if you go back again the second day or the third day, it will correct you and help you find the right intention. Because it's not really a thought, it's almost like a decree. Amen. This is where we become really co-creator with God, because in that realm, you're God. And that luminosity that you're in, it's not just you as a singularity. Although the entire field is you, but it is you, but it is also infinity times infinity, because you are infinity times infinity. It's a paradox. It's all of these things at the same time. And that's why singularity of awareness has problem with it. Because at that point, you're entangled with everything else that exists. You're in quantum entanglement. And all the parts that you're entangled with are you. Even though it may feel at the moment that you're separated from them, but you're not separated. And so sometimes I bring thoughts in there or idea or intention in there that are not proper. For example, I've asked of recent time, heal my financial situation, heal my something simple. I was bringing things that were too complicated before and I couldn't solve it. And it eventually reduced it. Heal my financial situation. Just something very broad and very top level. And let that blessed feel figuring out a way to solve it. Not me micromanaging. I have to do this and then do that and add that and subtract this and sub B and sub C and merge it and bring it together. None of that. Any questions, any comments?
Yeah, does the deceiver, in addition to uh, creating inverted light to make you think that you're in an elevated state, does it also do the reverse and create the illusion of being in a poor state, or would that be more the role of the Hasatan?
It can create the role of you being in a collective awareness. It doesn't create it. It just creates, it's trying to capture your attention and your focus so that your ego will be inflated. It can only create that luminosity. It does not create when you enter into that realm and you're because okay, the first thing to notice is that when you're creating the torsion field, every time a guardian comes in and the torsion field gets created, your consciousness shifts. You're no longer a singularity. You have now transcended. First guardian comes in, you transcend into something else. Second guardian comes in, you transcend into something else. And a third, and a fourth, and a fifth. And as this happens, you're learning how to be consciously immortal. So you're stepping away from being a singularity, which is where the deceiver has power. And the moment you finally exist in the final guardian realm, which is the realm of the 15th dimension, you're learning how to exist in that transcendental state. You will enter into that realm. And at that point, you're no longer under the influence of the deceiver. Does that make sense?
I see, yes. And therefore, if, for instance, you are in an illusion of deficit, of darkness, of lack, of pain, of scarcity, that would not be then the role that the deceiver is creating for you.
No, the deceiver only creates luminosity.
Oh,
That would definitely be Archon.
ah,
The Archons create shadows. They create camouflage.
uh-huh. You gotta know your
Yes, and
resistance.
every one of them has a different way, different method for using.
Right,
Yes, exactly.
right. Right.
Read
So,
this book, because that's the only way. If you don't know, you're gonna again the same with the angels. Each one of them has a role, and everything is specific. There's a way to ask and request. If you want strength and fertility, for example, there are a couple of times in my life where people came to me that were infantile, and I was able to ask Archangel Gabriel to come in, and they became pregnant. I didn't do it because I don't have that kind of power. It's not my doing. I called God, I prayed, and God said, call Gabriel. So if you don't know what you're dealing with and you don't have the knowledge base and the wisdom, you won't know what solution, what button you should push on, even when you're being burdened, to release what you need to release. Shadows are created by the Archon. Hasatan is create the test of the dweller, or tests your faith. Whereas the last test for our illumination is the test of the false light created by the deceiver, which is, but it's a very hard thing, although it is false light, but it is not false light, because it's through that false light that you will actually connect to the real light. It's necessary, because without it, you cannot experience the true luminosity.
hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? When you say false light, it gives the idea that it's something really bad. It's not. It's not that way. It's through it, and through witnessing it and observing it without projecting into it an identity and an ego, that the true light shows in. I'm going to give you an example. I spoke with a student of mine this week who had an experience in a dream that somebody was pursuing, blah, 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 and the person was coming into this home, and the student of mine was told to get to the door, because initially there was fear, and get to the door. And as the student showed up at the door, next to the student was Jesus and Mother Mary. And then this light just illuminated from them, and then the angels came in, and whomever was the being that was pursuing, it just vanished. It was vanquished. And I had a subsequent conversation. I said, yes, all of that happened and it's true. But even that is a reflection of something else that exists beyond that, that is not connected to the identity of Mother Mary or Jesus. And it's very hard, unless it's because it's an advanced student of mine. I would not have that conversation with an average person that tells me this. Because who am I to tell you that the vision that you have was a reflection of a false light, where you saw Jesus and you felt all of these incredible changes? I'm nobody. I don't have the right or the authority to say something like this to you. But I proposed, I said, could it be possibly, and it turns out that the student had an experience already with the true luminosity during one of the torsion field experience, where the presence of God showed up. And she understood it when I said it. She said, oh my God, I remember that experience where that presence showed up. It was completely different than that one.
What's the difference? How could she know that one was the real and the other the inverted light?
Because one of them is connected to a linear story.
One of them is.
Whereas the other one, there was luminosity and presence everywhere.
That's what you were saying. One was directional and
Yes,
all-encompassing.
yes, yes,
Those are fine points of difference, but
yes.
yeah.
And thank God she had experienced it. She understood. She said, I will accept this. I thank you for that. I didn't catch on the nuance. I'm like, yeah, when you said it, when she was describing it, I'm like, we had the conversation. I said, we should talk tomorrow. And I went in meditation and prayed about it, because I'm asking myself, who am I to say this to her? Let her enjoy this. I'm, and again, do not deny the fact that you saw Jesus and you saw Mother Mary. This is great, but there's something else behind it. and it's that something else that you need to pursue.
Like the way shower, the one to point you to the direction to pursue it.
Exactly. The same way the Hasatan help you test your faith and help you eventually find a greater connection to God. And the archons also help serve you because whatever they are doing, they help you cast out the disturbance, whatever genetic and DNA alteration that they did. When you begin to disconnect to them, you're changing your DNA, reasserting the original code they influence. You're recreating them. And at some point, they will not be able to influence you anymore. So all of these resisting forces are actually serving us. And that's why I'm grateful even for the dark experiences and the difficulties, because they're serving me.
Yes, we grow
Yes,
through the challenges.
yes. Whether we want it or not, we grow, we expand.
Is this a human condition, or do non-physical beings go through that as well?
Well, what do you mean non-human being? Like angel,
And
alien?
not physical form, but not beings not in physical form, I guess I would say.
Um, the Archon can follow you, I suppose, even into future incarnation, because even the story, for example, of your karma or your genetic stuff, the linearity of your epigenetics and all that. After a while, as you begin to ascend, and the way we are going now, we're so close to ascension, that itself become a story connected to the mirror. Because it's a linear story. Because when you get into the point of being neutral to everything, none of that stuff affects you. Not even time and space can enter into it. You completely exist outside of it. And so every time we practice the torsion field, the transcendence that we feel at every time one torsion field gets created, it's a practice in becoming consciously immortal and existing in a different state of awareness. And that's, as I said, at some point, you're going to just, it's going to be without you expecting it. You're doing it one day, and all of a sudden you're, what happened? Where did I go? And it's going to be disorienting.
Eventually, would you lose your physical form? I don't mean lose, but would you transcend your physical form? Maybe it's a better way to ask it.
Okay. Yes. Yes. The short answer is yes, but there is still some variance in this. I was talking to Georgie, who told me about a dream that he had just this past week, and he was talking about he encountered a being in that realm who told him about him ascending in a rainbow light, vanquishing and disappearing from the physical realm into rainbow light. And it's the teaching of the where is this thing? It's called Dream Yoga, the book. I don't know where I have it on my stack here. It's called Dream Yoga, and it's a teaching of the second Buddha, which is a way to leave the planet at the moment of your transition. And for 7 days, your body radiates light and you keep shrinking down every day. And it's all rainbow light until you disappear out of this realm. So you ascend not only emotionally and energetically, but you ascend physically.
Wow.
It's a deep and very advanced training into, okay, the best way I can say it to you is that when you enter into that luminosity, that true luminosity, it is the beginning of the journey. There are higher level into it. Now, Georgie being a Buddhist monk and doing all of this work, he's quite advanced in a lot of things. And he's encountering And he wasn't sure who the being was. And I'm the one that says, it's the second Buddha. It's the second Buddha. Because that is the teaching he brought to the planet. And a lot of his followers, as a matter of fact, the forward of that book, it was somebody from the Noetic science in 1890 or whenever it was that went to Tibet and physically witnessed a monk shrinking and radiating all this light in front of his eyes.
Is it like Elijah or Jesus as well, ascending in body?
I suppose it is similar, but according to the biblical stories, Elijah and Jesus and even Mother Mary that elevated and ascended, a chariot of fire came in and elevated them all at once.
Oh,
This actually lasts for 7 days.
Okay.
And when these beings are ready to do it, it's a special kind of yoga. Somebody sent me a clip. I hope I had saved it. I think I bookmarked it somewhere where this monk was youngish looking. All of his followers were sitting on either side, this Rinpoche, and he did the special, and there was flowers, there were all these things that were in front of him. He was ready to leave the planet, and then he literally sat in meditation. He prayed and he lay down and he took a couple of deep breaths, and the next thing you know, he's gone. And they start ringing the cymbal and the trumpet, and then they had a cloth underneath him and they lifted his body. He walked out of his body consciously.
Hmm.
There is a book, a small booklet I have here called Unto Thee I Grant the Economy of Life. This is something that a book that the Lamas in Tibet, when they're ready to leave the monastery, they used to give to them. And in that book, there's a passage in there that really stuck with me. It says, man should not live as long as he can, but as long as he should.
Hmm.
And it was about the practice of learning when to transit.
Of course, we leave our bodies when we're sleeping, right? Very often it's not but a conscious
Yeah.
stepping out.
But conscious stepping out. Everybody was there praying to the teacher on 2 rows with all of and there was all these lotus flowers. There was a whole ceremony, candle, there's all, and he's ready.
Hmm.
And he just stepped out.
That's nice. No trauma.
No trauma, no trauma. They know because he's going to be reincarnated in 49 days. They
Hmm.
know. Or for that matter, if he was practicing the dream yoga or the practice of the second Buddha, he's going to be transforming into light and living in his entire body.
Hmm.
Any other questions or comments? All right, let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll do a nice closing meditation.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And notice what you notice. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. And the guardian alliance of light approach you, offering to gift you their shields of light and protection, and a band of neutrality. If you are ready to accept these gifts at this time, answer affirmatively. And let the energy of the first guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, passing through the bottom of your feet, moving through your core, exiting outside of your head, and creating all around you at the top of the fourth dimensional body a torsion field of light and neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the second guardian, coming in from the top of the fifth dimensional body, rotating clockwise, cascading down to the top of your head, moving to your central axis, exiting at the bottom of your feet and into the core of the earth, and creating all around you. The torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the third guardian, counter-rotating, coming in from the core of the earth, passing through the bottom of your feet, moving through the top of your head and exiting at the top of the sixth dimensional body, creating all around you. The torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the fourth guardian coming in from the top of the seventh dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your central axis, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going to the core of the earth and creating all around you. A torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the fifth guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through your core, exiting outside of your head and into the top of the eighth dimensional body while creating all around you the torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the sixth guardian, rotating clockwise, coming in at the top of the ninth dimensional body, passing through the top of your head, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going into the core of the earth, while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the seventh guardian, counter-rotating, coming in from the core of the earth, passing through the bottom of your feet, moving through your core, exiting outside of your head into the top of the 10th dimensional body, and creating all around you the Trojan field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the top of your head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 8th guardian, rotating clockwise, coming in from the top of the 11th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the Night Guardian, rotating counterclockwise, coming in from the bottom of your feet and moving through your core, exiting outside of your head and into the top of the 12th dimensional body, and creating all around us a torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the top of your head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 10th guardian, cascading down from souls, and the top of the 13th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your core and going into the bottom of your feet and exiting into the core of the earth while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the 11th guardian, counter-rotating, coming in from the core of the earth, passing through the bottom of your feet, moving through your core, exiting outside of your head and into the top of the 14th dimensional body while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 12th and final guardian, cascading down from souls and the top of the 15th dimensional body while rotating clockwise, passing through your central axis, exiting at the bottom of your feet and into the core of the earth while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Teach me the neutrality and the rest that you know. What am I not hearing? What am I not seeing? What am I not perceiving? deep and profound reverence for the gift received. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre. That was very interesting. I think I heard not to seek it, but to let it come.
Hmm. 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 Beautiful.
Hmm. Seems to be a theme right now for me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I want to thank everyone for listening. Deep love and gratitude for all of you. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon, and I will talk to everyone next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Love you.